Thanks for tuning in the Football Talk Squadron. I'm Dutch.
I'm Maul.
And I'm Pops.
And welcome in the Super Bowl episode. Sorry, I wanted to re-say our podcast name again unnecessarily. It's because of the jersey. So shout out to Gut. Sent me a Mark Sanchez jersey, so I'm not thinking properly. It didn't come with butt fumbles or stabbings. Those were an optional buy-on that you can only get in real life. But I had to wear it on the podcast today. Came in the mail yesterday, so shout out to Gut for sending that out. Start off with some trivia. So, Maul and Pops, but mainly for Maul, a little shout out. Sam Darnold, if you didn't know, is now going to be the very first USC quarterback to start in a Super Bowl. So, with that in the knowledge, it works out better using the 2024 college football playoff bracket because of the teams. I'm going to go through these teams, and you tell me whether they've ever had a quarterback start in a Super Bowl. Y'all ready? Clemson.
No.
No is the correct answer. Texas.
No.
No is the correct answer. Tennessee.
Peyton Manning.
Yes, Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning is correct. Ohio State.
No.
No is the correct answer. SMU.
I don't know SMU quarterback, so I'm just going to say no.
No is the correct answer. Penn State.
No.
Kerry Collins with the Giants. He was a Penn State quarterback.
There you go.
Indiana.
Trent Green never made it.
Correct. So, no. We'll see if
No.
Mendoza does better. I'd say with the Raiders, probably not.
All signs point to no.
Notre Dame.
Montana.
Joe Montana.
Yep, and Joe Theismann, as it's now supposedly pronounced. Arizona State.
No, I'm going to say no. I think the only one that was good was... No,
Plummer.
I was going
but
to say
he
Jake
didn't
Plummer,
play the
but
Super
he
Bowl.
didn't go, yeah.
Oregon.
No.
You're correct. No. Boise State.
No.
Also no.
I was going to say, I was like, Kellen Moore never even started.
And the final one, Georgia.
I mean, not
Stafford.
starting quarterback, but, well, yeah,
Stafford.
Stafford. And then, yes. I was thinking Stetson Bennett. I was going recency.
Stafford and Fran Tarkenton with the Vikings. They just never won. So a little bit of a throwback. Figure I'd shout it out. Also, Drake May on the other side is now going to be the first UNC quarterback to start in a Super Bowl. So I guess I'll just go with you guys first. Initial thoughts on how you think the Super Bowl is going to play out.
I mean, we've talked about. I think you guys highlighted it earlier than I realized it, but the quote unquote it feels like it's all over now. Everybody's calling it like the Mickey Mouse path for the Patriots getting into the Super Bowl with like the 7th easiest regular season schedule since the merger. They had a broken Chargers team that they got to play in the first round. Nico Collins-less Houston Texans where Stroud threw 4 interceptions, and then a Denver team that didn't have their starting quarterback. So, I mean, they've had just like this cakewalk into the Super Bowl. We were making jokes last weekend of the Rams and the Seahawks were going to beat up on each other so bad, like something was going to happen where whoever won the game, like it was going to be at the starting quarterback was like going to break their arm or something in the final play of the game, so just to like let the Patriots have this. But being it as the Seahawks are healthy, that defense, and as bad as the Patriots looked, I can't see this being a repeat of the Patriots dynasty. Like I think the Seahawks are going to win by more than one touchdown.
Dang.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. Like personally, I think it's going to be a boat race. Like I will give the Patriots the fourth quarter because nobody could see anything going on there. So like I understood like the back and forth, not being able to move the ball, keep the ball moving and stuff like that. But playing a Jarrett Stidham offense, that honestly they should have won the game. Like if Peyton would have taken the points, it would have been, a 10-10 game going into the final, into the fourth quarter. It's just one of those things, like, for being who they think that they are, just is not the case. And again, it just goes to show, I think Drake May finished the game with, like, 86 passing yards or 100. Like, it was a very low number. And it was just like, that's the guy you guys think's the MVP. And then you turn on the Seahawks versus the Rams game, Matt Stafford, over 300 yards, doing everything he could, had chances to win the game. And it's just like, it was just a clear picture for anybody who watches. Like, Drake May is not the MVP that you guys think he is. And, I mean, it showed yet again. And I don't think he's going to be able to do anything against the Seattle's defense because, I mean, look how bad he struggled against the Broncos defense. They're pretty much tit for tat. I would say that probably the Seahawks defense is slightly better with the way that they're playing right now. And, that offense of the Seahawks is a lot better than the Broncos being led by a backup quarterback. I give a touchdown favorite as well.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, I text y'all, like, I thought the Broncos should have, like, the Patriots got lucky that the snow came in like it did because that really shut down. I'll give the Patriots their defense, their run defense was pretty good, but like Stidham was kind of cutting them up early. Once the snow started coming in, it was hard to throw, and then the Broncos couldn't run the ball. But like I don't think Seattle's going to have a problem running the ball, and it's not going to be snowing in California, so like they're going to get cut up. And Drake May has. For all this talk about accuracy that they've been going on all year, like it's because he dinks and dunks all the time. And like against the good defenses, it's not going to work. Like he has not shown really all playoffs like an MVP level of play. He's kind of just gotten bailed out by, good breaks or, his defense.
I felt like Tony Romo was pulling punches in that broadcast because even during that game, like Drake May miss wide open, like guys open, like putting it there. And it wasn't like just a few inches. It was like putting it at guys' feet, like well outside of their catch radius. Like no one touches the ball. And you sort of saw it there at the end. Like they legitimately, they just relied on their defense because it was like 3rd and 8, and they just ran it with Drake May over to the right. It was pretty much like, look, we know we're not getting this by throwing, so we're just holding on, which I think begs the question based upon how well Seattle's defense has played, and you take a look at how the Patriots have played against Denver, how they played against Houston, they struggled offensively. Is the key to the game Sam Darnold?
I think the key to the game is going to be the Patriots' run game. Because if the Patriots can really run the ball effectively, obviously that helps the passing game, and there's a lot of things that go with it. It helps control the pace of the game. It'll take some pressure off of Drake May. It won't allow them to just like rush the passer, because I think that was the biggest thing why Drake May was struggling so much was Denver was getting to him and he could not handle it. I get what you're asking with like Darnold, but like. The Vikings, Darnold, is gone. Like, we haven't seen that Darnold show up once this season when it mattered. Like, he hasn't played this perfect season, but the Darnold that you're thinking of, this like, oh, you know, he got him to the playoffs but then choked, like, he's played really well, like, basically since like week 15 on.
And I'm kind of in the same boat as that. Like, my initial reaction was not necessarily, Darnold, but is KW9 going to be a dog again in this game? Like, the Rams had no answer for him. Like, in all honesty, he was able to do whatever he wanted, and that's going to be the biggest question mark. Can the Patriots focus on them and make the game about Sam Darnold more so than Kenneth Walker? And if Walker has a game like he did against the Rams, again, good luck, because it's hard to stop. And you could argue with the Vikings, with aging Aaron Jones, like, they just were not able to replicate what KW9 can do coming out of that backfield. And that for me is going to be the catalyst for the Seahawks to allow for them to run away with the game. If Kenneth Walker can't be stopped, the Patriots are done.
The other guy that has played lights out is JSN.
Oh, for sure.
Like, dog. I mean, he's one of those guys that it's just like it was like Puka on the other side. No matter who they put on him, it was like they just could not lock him down. Like, got open, scored a touchdown. That one-handed catch was absolutely filthy. That's the issue, I think, going in for the Patriots. It's like Gonzalez got burned a few times against, the Broncos. And I would think that JSN is far superior to anybody they have on that roster. I'd love to sit back and tell you that the Patriots just go, we're going to stop Kenneth Walker and make him throw. But when you do that, it opens up the door to getting JSN, which this is where I'll go with that to lead into a question. You have Vrabel, very first year as a Patriots head coach, taking this team to a Super Bowl, but he has prior head coaching experience. Then you have Mike McDonald for Seattle in his second year, taking them to a Super Bowl, but no previous head coaching experience. Who do you think has the leg up in terms of coaching for this game? And I'll also point out that Vrabel's got the experience playing.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that was going to be my vector. Was like,
go ahead.
Yeah, Vrabel has been there. He's been in the game. He's even played, or coached in the AFC championships. Like, he's been in these high caliber games as a coach and obviously as a player with the Patriots. But Mike McDonald, like, he had good years with the Ravens as well. Like, they were just never able to beat the Chiefs, and he was right there in those games coaching. So I think they both have the experience, but I would give overall experience as a player and a coach to Vrabel for sure.
Yeah, parrot that. Just, it's nothing taken away from McDonald. It's just Vrabel, from a experience standpoint, has been there on multiple levels. That's not to say, though, that like I think that's going to play a huge factor in the game, honestly, because McDonald's more than proven himself that he can handle these situations.
And then also with Seattle, the other thing that makes me like them offensively, I mean, the dude really never played this well with the Saints. It comes to Seattle, and honestly, I really didn't hear his name much, but Rashid has been going off with them. I mean, you take it, the kickoff, and then that huge bomb that Darnold, he's got that fifth gear speed-wise that opens up their offense even more. Because it's like, if you want to double JSN, okay, well then our deep ball guy's got a one-on-one shot on the outside, so it's going to come down to coverage. But I'm with both of you guys in terms of, I like Seattle in the game. Seattle right now -4.5. I'm with you guys. Like, I think Seattle covers that, I would say, easily. If their defense shows up and plays like it has been and their offense can run the ball, I don't think the Patriots defensively are as good as we think they are. It's just that they've played suboptimal talent so far in the playoffs and in the regular season. It's hard with all the weapons that Seattle has to not favor them in this game.
And I'm looking at it right now. Did you guys hear the word about Drake May?
I know he's dealing with injury.
Yeah, he's on the injury report right now with his throwing shoulder, and he did not practice the other day.
I'm going to go with he plays in the game.
Oh, 100%. But
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, they're already giving him a scapegoat, to get out because he played on an injured shoulder.
Any other predictions?
besides the halftime show being terrible? Sorry.
I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't really ever watch. I mean, I'll sit there and watch the show, but that's never what's gotten me to the game. Like, that's what gets my wife to go watch the game. She's like, who's performing at halftime? I'm like, I don't know. Did they announce it? She's like, yeah, it was a few weeks ago. Did you not hear? It's irrelevant to me most of the time.
Yeah, there's
Now,
only been
when Maul
one Super Bowl that I
yeah.
showed up for the halftime show. But
when Dr. Dre and everybody was putting on a show and Maul was rapping every single word in my living room, and at the end of it, he goes, "There will never be another greater Super Bowl than this."
That I'm not gonna lie. That one was memorable. The LA halftime show, that was fantastic for the last 10 years.
So transitioning, I'll ask this to you, Pops, because me and Maul have talked about it. So in a lieu of head coaching hires across the NFL, a little transition, you have a lot of repeats. Stefanski goes to the Falcons. You've got Saleh going to the Titans. The Browns hired Munkin, who had never been a head coach before, but, had been with them. All the guys so far that have been hired have been pro. My question to you is, why is it that college coaches, especially head coaches, do not get more of a shot? Like, you've got Kurt Cincinnati, who turns a program around in 2 years, but you don't hear his name being, brought in for interviews. You don't hear Kirby Smart being brought in for interviews. What do you think the reasoning is behind that? And just to pull out a little bit of data, when you look at the last few, you've got Urban Meyer, who got fired pretty quickly. And then you have the Baylor head coach, Maul, what's his name again?
Matt Rule.
Matt Rule.
Matt Rule. Yeah, with the Panthers. So there's your two most recent ones that really flopped. What is your gut saying on that?
Well, again, I mean, another example too is Cliff Kingsbury. They let him lead the Cardinals for a little while, and we saw how that flopped. And year one, he looked great with Jaden Daniels. Year two, Jaden Daniels injured. Now he gets fired. So it's like one of those things that's just, they look great on paper. With all the success that they had. Like, I think there's probably the politics behind it that we just don't see behind the scenes. Like in my case, Kirby's had the professional experience. He went up to the Dolphins with Saban, so he was on the staff. He's been in the league before. He seems like he would be the best fit if you're going to pull somebody out of college. But, for whatever reason, he's not one to leave home. He loves being back at the alma mater. Like, I truly don't know where it is, because I guess it comes down to the fact that with NIL now, it's just about how much money you can bring in as your school to get the best players. NFL, you still got to deal with the draft, with the salary cap. You got to deal with, all the moving pieces with your draft picks and stuff like that. Like, maybe that's why, is that I have an endless supply of money from boosters to a certain degree that I just want to have in the pros. And maybe it's a better system in college, even though we're all hating on it.
Yeah, it always strikes me. I know Maul's brought this up a million times, of this cyclical cycle that we get in with head coaching hires, because I look at just especially the Stefanski and the monkey with the Browns, that I just go, what's your expectations? In terms of when Matt Ryan gave this huge big speech about we're going to find the best coach, we're going to bring in the guy that knows ball. It was so the guy that you thought know ball was also the guy that got rid of Baker Mayfield and brought in Deshaun Watson.
And went 8-26 in the last 2 seasons.
Yeah. And then you're going to go Munkin. It's all this dude's ever known how to do is turn around and hand the ball off to a running back, which, don't get me wrong, Cleveland's got him. But from a standpoint of he's had zero head coaching experience, and he's in his 60s in terms of fielding an NFL team. And it's that was the guy you went with. Even the Bills, going within. Now, I will say that at least Brady was an offensive coordinator for LSU, but in terms of, was Josh Allen as effective this year than he was in his MVP season? No. And he was the OC. So you sort of sit back. I mean, that meme that I sent to you guys was honestly how I felt, which was the Michael Scott being like, I don't hate it, but I don't love it. But I hate it, and this is terrible.
Well, and for me, it's one of the things, like, we talk about it, in the text, like bringing Philip Rivers into the conversation for the Bills. And it's just like, why is there no college coaches in this decision? Like, are they actually reaching out to the agents, and the agents like, yeah, don't even bother? Or, like, there's no transparency there of why, some of the bigger names, your Kirby Smarts, Cignetti, obviously he signed down the bigger deal this year, so he's not leaving Indiana. But it's like, they would probably buy out those contracts without any questions asked, to bring somebody up to the big leagues. And I feel like these college coaches are happy where they're at and don't want to go up and bounce around the pros. I mean, that's what it's got to be in my case. If you're going to go teach or get Philip Rivers, who's only coached high school level ball, obviously a great player, don't get me wrong, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. But you're already talking about making him a head coach, and it's just like, what is seriously going on in these GM conversations?
See, I would honestly prefer something like that to what we currently have, which is what Dutch talked about with this, like, cyclical. Like, would you rather give Philip Rivers a shot or, like, Brady from the Bills? Like, I would rather give them a shot than, like, hire Stefanski. You know what I mean? Because it's like, I get it. There's not, like, this name behind it where they've got, like, this, proven track record. But, these guys don't have a proven track record. If anything, their track record is bad, right? So, like, I don't want to hire a Kevin Stefanski. You know what I mean? Like, I would rather take a shot on some guy who was a good coordinator somewhere. And again, I don't know why. I don't understand the college NFL thing. There's probably a million different reasons, and it's all, an individual case. But, like, we've talked about it. Like, why did Bill O'Brien have such a long head coaching career? Like, he proved over and over and over again that he couldn't get it done. But just because he was a previous head coach, these people will hire him. And it's like, what'd you think you were going to get?
Yeah, I mean, that Bill O'Brien is responsible for one of the worst trades in NFL history, trading D-Hop in his prime for a busted-up David Johnson and, like, a third-round pick. I remember when that trade happened. Like, you could even tell on ESPN as they were, like, trying to sell it. It was like, hey, this is, like, we don't even have words to tell you how bad of a trade this was. Like, Arizona just fleeced them, for D-Hop. Couldn't make it up. And you just sort of sit back and it's like, the thing that, like, the reason I asked the question is I just never even hear about a college coach being pulled in for an interview. Like, exactly. It's not just that they're competing for stuff, but it's like Cignetti turns around one of the worst programs in the history of college football in 2 years and wins a national championship, but no one's willing to call him in to be like, hey, can you help with the Browns? Like, it's worth a chance, Mm-hmm. Cignetti's not calling plays. All he did was he built, like, he set the tone and he found guys to surround himself with. I'm like, that's what Saban did. Like, Saban was good at surrounding himself. Now, I know that Saban didn't do hot with the Dolphins. A lot of that, we all know history, came down to a doctor said Drew Brees' shoulder wasn't good, but Dante Culpepper's knee was. And Saban will be the first to tell you that if that had worked the other way around, he probably never leaves the Dolphins, never goes to Alabama, never starts a dynasty there. So now you did say something else, just that I got to bring it up since you said it. You said, Philip Rivers, future Hall of Famer. Your reaction to Bill Belichick somehow not being a Hall of Famer.
I mean, I texted you guys when I saw the article pop out, and I was like, I said, is it because he could come back, or is it because of, all the controversies that people have against him? And, like, it's coming back to just high school BS. Like, there is absolutely no reason on paper, take his character out of it, on paper, there's no reason why Bill Belichick should not be a first-round Hall of Famer, or first ballot. Excuse me.
So on that topic, we're talking about, like, the controversies. Tom Brady was there during all the controversies. Mm-hmm. Is Tom Brady not going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer? Like, is that what we're talking about now? Like, and Gronk, you know what I mean? Like, they were there for all of that. So like that can't be the reasoning. Like, and that little video I sent y'all couldn't have summed it up more. Like, Bill Belichick is going to get into the Hall of Fame. Like, he has every single stat that you could possibly look at that would make him a Hall of Fame coach, and multiples at that, right? Like, there's a lot of guys that are in the Hall of Fame on one stat alone, and he's got all of them. So at some point, he's going to get into the Hall of Fame. So if anything, this just looks really bad on like the organization and like the Hall of Fame as a whole of like, what are y'all doing over there? Because it's going to make it where people go, it like diminishes it, right? We're getting into like the MVP type stuff where it's like, did you win an MVP? You're like, yeah, but you was just like the most popular guy that season, or like the Heisman. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna get to that level if they keep doing.
Should do her to the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, right. Like it's gonna get to that level where nobody cares about like the Hall of Fame status or thing anymore, because it's like you got politics and this weird stuff going on when the most clearly obvious first ballot Hall of Fame coach didn't get in.
Yeah. I think the thing that makes me mad is the question should be, is he a Hall of Famer or is he not? Because if he's not, instead of him like going year after year to try to get in, it's a one-time shot. You're either a Hall of Famer or you're not. Period. Dot. By them saying no this year, like that was with that video that you said, it was like, you think you're hurting Bill Belichick's reputation? He's going to get in. And do you think that he's not going to get up on that stage and say some stuff? Like, I would burn it to the ground during my acceptance speech. Like, thank you for the voters who didn't think I was good enough. You know, after winning 6 Super Bowls as a head coach, 2 as an assistant, I won more AFC championships than any coach on either side of the NFC or AFC side. I won more division titles than any other head coach. I'm second in wins. I'm number 1 in playoff wins. Like, not an NFL Hall of Famer, first ballot. Like,
well, did you see? You brought up a good point about like, you know, they're either in or they're not. Did you see the message that the Hall of Fame like sent out like as like a general public release about like they're looking into if there was like not tampering but like unregulated practices in their voting or something like that? Did you see that?
I mean, I know that what he was in, it's the first year that they changed it to where instead of having to be out for 5 years, it's 1 year, and he got put into the senior category guys. So there was 5 guys that he's going up against. He's going up against, funny enough, Robert Kraft, the owner, Elsie Greenwood, and then there was 2 other, I think it was Roger Craig and one other guy that he's going up with. So he, out of 50 voters, he needed 40 votes to say that he was a Hall of Famer. The thing that I saw that came out is Bill Polian, who was the GM for the Colts during the time that the Colts could never beat the Patriots, pretty much was like, what do we guys think about Spygate? Do we think it should be a punishment for him to, you know, not get in for a year? Which, as you pointed out, we've already elected other Patriots who were there. And if you're going to do this to Bill, then it begs the question, you know, Bill apparently, which I'll give him this, I think he knew. He didn't know about Deflategate. Bill was never investigated for it. The only person punished for Deflategate was Tom Brady. Mm-hmm. Like, so if you're going to hold this over Bill's hand, you really going to tell me you're going to hold it over the quarterback that has 7 Super Bowl rings? Like, kick rocks.
Yeah, so basically the Hall sent out this letter because of all of the blowback they got about it. And that they said they review the selection process and the composition of the 50-person like selection committee. And if it's determined that any member violated any selection process bylaws, then action will be taken against the committee. But then they go on to say that like the sanctity of the committee's word is final, so therefore we're going to honor it, which I laugh at because you're like, if you think it's so egregious that you got to like investigate it and take action against this member, then why honor said action? That's like, we'll allow you to get away with cheating. You'll get punished for it, but like the results will still stand. That's the weirdest thing to me. Is just like if you look into it and you determine like, hey, these dudes like bribed somebody to vote against Bill or whatever the case is. I'm not making accusations. I'm just saying, what if you think that like there was some unlawful practices going on, then let's kick those people out and then re-vote or something. You know what I mean? Like, you don't just like let it stand if it was so egregious that you have to do something that you've never done before. Especially in a situation like this where everybody knows he's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
And then on top of it, you just go, I think it begs the bigger picture. These voters, the votes need to be public. We've argued about this with the college football playoff. Like, the things done in secret lead to things like this. Like, if you're willing to be a voter for it, then you shouldn't have any problem putting your name down to say how you voted. Because you should be at least, they asked Bill Polian, they were like, so did you vote for him? And he's like, I don't remember.
I don't recall.
Yeah. Dude, why don't you just have the balls to say no? Like, like,
it would have been much more understandable if he was like, no, I hate that guy. He took 3 of my Super Bowls. You know what I mean? Everybody be like, all right, you know, he's petty. I got it. I don't recall. Please. Either you have dementia and you shouldn't be voting in the first place, or you're a liar and a cheater and then you still shouldn't be voting in the first place.
And it seems like both are true. Get him out of the committee, which it should be. I even think about like with baseball. Like, I know this football podcast, there have been guys that have gone up to the Hall of Fame that didn't get 100% of the vote. And you're like Ichiro. And they were like, well, one dude didn't have you down because this one guy was like, well, I don't think anybody should get 100%, so I'm not going to vote for that. And you're just like, that dude should never be allowed to cover sports again. Period. Like, sorry, you're not a voter anymore. Ever.
Didn't that one dude do that with Rodgers MVP or something like that?
Yeah, he was like, I'm not going to vote for him because I don't like his stance on the vaccine.
Yeah.
And you're like, is this about football or everything else? Because what the Hall of Fame, that bust in there, doesn't give, was a part of Spygate. And they even brought it up. I heard this podcast that was like, do you know that Bill Belichick already has a display in the Hall of Fame from like this like playbook that he put in, they've already like praised him in the Hall of Fame. And then you go up there and you're like, so where's he at? You're like, yeah, we didn't think he was good enough for first ballot. Dude. Like that video said, did far more damage on the Hall of Fame than it did Bill Belichick's reputation. Period. Anything else?
That's it.
All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. I guess Patriots going to win the Super Bowl because all of us think it's going to be Seattle. So,
hey, we've been on a hot streak this playoffs.
We have been here lately. I will say that first round, I was 0 for 4. I went with heart with, picking the Bills, hoping that, the Texans would pull the upset. But especially, there's no way that you could watch how the Patriots have played. Which, shout out to Pops. Pops was the one that brought it up in the first place. I hadn't even looked at the regular season, and Pops was like, have you seen this schedule? And I was like, no, not really. Went and looked, and you're like, God, like, if there was a playing the Arkansas Pine Buffs of the SEC schedule, the New England Patriots had it.
Well, and it was like that shout out to NFL memes, when they played that videotape of like shout out to the 18 quarterbacks the Patriots had to play, and it started with Spencer Rattler. And you're just like, all right, yep, I see where this is going. Game. Spencer Rattler, Joe Flacco, they just went down and down, and you're just like, yeah, not that great of a season.
The other NFL memes that was hilarious was that Geno Smith one. My gosh. It was like, you're so bad of a player that when you left, your team immediately goes to the Super Bowl. And also, now that you're off the Raiders, they're taking a new quarterback with the very first round pick. Like, tough to be a Geno Smith fan, but he's done. Anything else before we tune out? You look like you got something.
I'm trying to see it right here. It just popped up. Apple News Sports. One of the guys says why he didn't vote for him. I'm trying to read to it real quick. But it's like the headline says Bill Belichick belongs in the Hall of Fame, but here's why I didn't vote for him. Make that make sense.
That goes back to like what Dutch said. He either is or isn't. And like this whole like, oh, he's got to wait around to like do his time. And it's like, what? So like is he not better than every coach we've ever seen so far? Or, like, does he just have to wait for a worse class to get more votes? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it was sitting here saying, you know, he should have been a first-round Hall of Famer, first ballot, but that's just not how the voting works. Explain it. Like, explain how that's not how the voting works. I'm trying to get to an actual quote so that we can
I was about to
see.
say, does it actually release that guy's name? Because if it is, I hope he never covers sports again.
Yeah.
Is it Mel Kiper? We pray that it's Mel Kiper.
Yeah, Kuiper's praising the fact that Shador made it to the Pro Bowl with 7 touchdowns and 10 interceptions.
What's sad is, like, on that note, I don't know where you're looking at the quote. Like, I saw a comparison between him and another quarterback that didn't get, he was below the vote line with. Like, if there was a guy that should have been over Shador, which is pretty much everyone, it was Trevor Lawrence.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that dude balled out. He had a way better, for as much crap as we've talked about him since the inception of this show, I have to give it to him. Outside of the playoff game, Trevor got him there. They looked good. They played well.
He even played fine in that playoff game. It's just Josh Allen played better.
Yeah.
So, pretty much in essence, what that's saying is that the other 3 guys, Craig, Anderson, and the other guy, they're saying that they were more deserving because they've been waiting longer, is essentially what that boiled down to. It had nothing to do with politics, is what that's saying. So, it's a cover piece.
Also, nothing to do with football, which is
correct.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, the Hall of Fame sucks anyhow. Already went.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was like, do you want to reference that episode?
Yeah, I mean,
15 years out of date.
It hurts the Hall of Fame. Like, the place is outdated. Like, and I still remember, like, when you walk into the bus room, you're sort of like, you're envisioning, like, yo, this is going to be like the Sistine Chapel. This is going to be like, you know, something, like, it will be, it's the penultimate of football. And you, like, walk in and it's like, dude, like, bus, their plaques were broken. Like, this little plastic piece. And you were just like, I thought this was the Hall of Fame. Like, are y'all hurting for money? Like, in most of the stuff was like in the 90s. Like, even some of they had stats of like who leads the NFL in touchdown passes. It still said Brett Favre. And I had to like take a pause back and I was like, literally, so Drew Brees broke that for a season. And now it's Brady. Like, how far are y'all behind? Like, no one came up here and updated this. Like, no one. Like, that's... Why am I even surprised when something like this happens? I guess I'm not.
Waiting on that Windows 95 update.
Oh, man. But, all right, well, if y'all don't got anything else, time to pull chalks. We'll see you guys post-Super Bowl. We'll get a recap going into the offseason. See ya.